Hey everyone, welcome back once again to Vicious Rants. And of course, I am your host, the one and only, the often imitated, never duplicated, backyard superstar, Tim Vicious. Alright, so with this one, just talking straight up, it's kind of got something to tie in with what I was saying last week about with the stories, but I'll get into detail on that as I go through. But with this one, I'm talking about on how the fact that they're not pushing up new talent soon enough. You know, I'm not talking about like bring everyone from NXT and FCW right on up right now, because that'd be a god awful fucking mistake. You know, you overflood everything. You know. I mean, but it's honestly there were very few good things that happened on Raw this past Raw. I mean, Joe Henning pulling off the perfect plex as good as his father, the Jericho Heyman segment, and the Brian White video. And I don't know if it's just me, but the Wyatt family kind of reminds me of a mix between the Godwins and the crazy hillbillies that were in Deliverance. And if you've never seen the movie Deliverance or read the book, you seriously need to, because if you've seen the movie, you know what I'm talking about. If Burt Reynolds couldn't survive that, I don't think anyone can. But anyways, it's just weird that, you know, normally you see them bring up a couple new faces post-Mania, but not this far post-Mania. You know what I'm talking about? It's like they just want to highlight and emphasize on what guys they do have right then and there, and it's kind of unflattering to the guys that are still in, for lack of a better term, that are still in the minor leagues waiting for the call to get put up to the big leagues. You know? I mean, if you got guys like Chris Hero and El Generico in NXT, and word is that Hero's going to be getting brought up, and I still call him Chris Hero because that's just the name I've always known him as, you know? And Generico, it would be nice to see him brought up. It'd be even nicer if they brought him up while he was with the mask, but they ain't gonna. Yeah, I ain't gonna go and rant on that because that's a whole other story altogether. But, you know, bring some of the guys that already have a good, strong fan base up. And I'm not talking about just a fan base like they were in NXT and the people love them like there. No, I mean like that had a nice, decent fan base before they got into NXT. You know? And I even brought up this idea to a friend of mine, Vicky. You know, it's simple enough. What you could do, or what they could do as an idea. Sorry. Just as an idea on what they could do, you know, instead of just having their own minor territory, their own developmental territory, also have their own training school, you know? That way, and even yet, don't just go out into the indies and get this guy and this guy and this guy. Go and start up a school, build somebody. That way you can take this, that way you can get like a whole bunch of 19, 20-year-olds. Take them, shape them, mold them into what you want. That way you can make your own ideal wrestlers and your own ideal champions. That would be a great idea, Vince. You know, and this is part of where, you gotta think, okay, what is it that I need to do to not just be good for right now with the company? What am I going to be good for the next 15 years into the company? Because, you relied too much on your part-time stars, and look what happened. Lesnar's out until right up about until Royal Rumble, because he's going to be part-time, that or SummerSlam, either or, that's my prediction. Dwayne, I should say, wound up getting hurt in his match, so you couldn't even go and build up hype for a possible twice in the, no, third time in a lifetime rematch. And Hunter, he's working on trying to set things up backstage, trying to make the show better. And, it doesn't make sense why they would want to rely so much on the part-time stars. Aside from the namesake alone, you get them, they do a 15 to 20 minute match, and then next thing you know, you're just like, okay, now what? I mean, you got guys like Cody Rhodes and Damian Sandow, who honestly really are a very good tag team, having them job just about to anyone and everyone under the sun. You got the Usos also, which are jobbing, and I'm pretty sure you're doing that just because one of them wound up getting hit with a DUI. And you had a chance to rebuild the tag teams. You botched that because of stories. And you're relying too much just on teams alone. Have people be like, hey, why don't me and you tag team? We'll team up, see if we can go and take out see if we can go win them titles. They would have, do something random like that. But, it's... Anyways, like I was saying, as far as with the talent and the storyline thing goes, you bring in new talent and have them go over and do like some new stories with them. Because the stories that you guys got now are stale, bland, and boring. I mean, if it wasn't for the fact that I know who Joe Henning is, that I know who Curtis Axel is, Joe Henning, I would have been just like, okay, it's any other guy. But no. And the fact that they paired him with Heyman is a stroke of genius, because the kid's got skill and the kid's good. They were just trying to build him up. Now they're not trying to make him like Mr. Perfect 2.0, but instead they're just emphasizing his dad was Mr. Perfect. His grandfather was Larry the Axe Hennig. And if you wound up seeing any of Larry the Axe Hennig's matches, like I did, he's good. And I don't even have to ask if anyone's seen Mr. Perfect Kurt Hennig's matches, because honestly, if you're watching this and you never did, I want you to find a very sharp, rusty fork and gouge yourself in the eye until you can pull it out. Because Mr. Perfect, by far, one of the best technical wrestlers in wrestling history, period. Just the fact that you wouldn't even know who he is just shows your serious lack of wrestling knowledge. But anyways, I could see the Curtis Axel bit going far. And You know, you could even have, like, you have, my boy Danny wound up bringing up this idea earlier. And I'm not stealing your bit, I'm just sharing with the world what you were thinking, Danny. Yeah, if they still had the brand extensions, have the Shield on Raw, have the Wyatt family on SmackDown. That way, and have them both doing their own thing for so long until Survivor Series comes, and then they go at it. And I already bitched and moaned before about on how Survivor Series is already down the toilet. You could do that. If you still were doing that, you could help rebuild it. And that would also go with selling that the new kids are taking over. The new kids are setting up for the future. I mean, you got... And I'm seriously at a loss of words because on how annoyed I am over this shit. You know? But it's unfucking real at the fact that you're still relying on doing the same old bland, you know, squash matches and cheap promos and bits like having Wade Barrett versus Sheamus for the 5 millionth time and Sheamus getting the win for the 5 billionth time over him because somebody distracted Barrett, or Barrett went to go for a cheap shot and Sheamus stopped it. You know, things like that. Where's the originality? Not saying you have to be different every night, but just, you know, throw a dog a bone. Give us something half decent to actually see and appreciate. It would be nice. But, anyways, let's going to finish this up. So, much like normal, don't forget, like the video, subscribe to the channel, go back and watch all the other episodes. Look for me on Twitter at TimVicious. Leave any questions, comments, complaints, concerns, grunts, groans, bitching, whining, whatever you want on down below. You know, and actually, you know, like I said before, I'm willing to take some questions from you guys, you know, on anything, whether it's wrestling related or not. You know, got no problem with that. And it could even be, you know, on anything, you know. Wrestling, non-wrestling, whatever the fuck you want. Alright, anyways, also, don't forget to check out all these cool-ass cats right here on Twitter. KCat26, my brother from another mother. James Steele, JX2001, that Roxy girl, _ it's V bitch. James, Roxy, and Vicky all have their own YouTube channels on here and do their videos. Make sure you check them all out. My boy Danny Sunday, I am Danny Sunday. Lucky Morris, Charmaine, make sure you also check out her podcast, Brett Russ Chat. Helen Robinson 82, Meow _ Cakes. By the way, Penny, congratulations. That little girl looks beautiful. She just had a baby, so if you see her, make sure you give her congrats. Jerry Soriano, Team Custom Made, Cranky Asshole, Stacy Impact W Fan, Legion Lady Aaron, and Legion of Nerds. Also, don't forget to check out legionofnerds.com. And like normal, you love me great, you hate me, fuck you.